welcome back to the Flicks Forum podcast with Jesse, Heater and MJ. In this week's episode, we'll be discussing Netflix's 19th film, the 2016 sci-fi action film Spectral, directed by Nic Mathieu, starring James Badge Dale, Max Martini, Emily Mortimer and Bruce Greenwood. Welcome, fellow hosts.
G'day, boys.
Hey, how you going?
Good to be back again.
Yes, absolutely.
Next sci-fi after Arc.
Yes, this is our second sci-fi.
Second sci-fi.
Yeah. And what are we up to? 18, 19?
19. I'm glad you listened to my intro. Must have just zoned out there. That's all right. I won't put as much effort into my intro next week.
I enjoyed it, Jesse. I was listening.
I generally do. Oh, yeah. You know what? It doesn't even ring a bell either. I think I was checking that the timer was on.
Good time. So, yeah, number 19. So, getting there.
Oh, well.
Let's go around the table, do our Fast Flicks quick summary of the film. Heater, hit us off.
All right, so an engineer joins a special ops team to go behind enemy lines to find a missing team. During the mission, they encounter the enemy that killed their brothers and are faced with the fight of their lives.
Brothers.
Good film. Jake Gyllenhaal.
That is honestly, if you haven't seen Brothers, that is an absolutely fantastic movie.
It's a very good film.
Yeah.
All right, MJ, go.
So this is the Fast Flicks for Spectral, not Brothers. This supernatural sci-fi masquerading as a war film has all the ingredients for an enjoyable time at the movies, or in this case, on the couch. When a spirit-like enemy is causing a special ops unit headaches and significant casualties, they call in guru engineer Dr. Klein to figure out what the hell is going on. The deeper they dig, the closer to hell they get.
All right, I'm going to go. So, a military intervention leads to the discovery of a ghost-like enemy. What do these ghosts want, and can they be defeated? At least one of these questions will be answered.
Cool.
I like the questions in your Fast Flicks.
Yeah.
You're bringing them back.
Yeah,
I tried to go an MJ whack this time, and it
that didn't sound like
didn't
it.
sound like it. I
No.
meant to change my tone a bit.
Yeah, you gotta be really subjective.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. All right, so let's have a little chat about anything that we've
It's
learned.
interesting. Like it's a sci-fi, but it still definitely had like these supernatural elements to it. And I was trying to think of, how often sci-fis and supernatural stuff really cross. I couldn't think of many times where this has kind of happened. And I know at the end of the day, it wasn't really supernatural because it was something that was man-made. But for the majority of the film, you're thinking, oh, this is a ghost.
Yeah.
I kind of liked that mix. And I've never been a huge sci-fi fan, and which I think is probably a dirty line when people say, I don't like sci-fi movies. And I'm starting to really think about, just because you like drama movies doesn't mean you like all drama movies. If you like comedy movies, you don't like them all. So I think it's worth keeping an open mind that sci-fi movies can be super different, and you can like one and hate another one. And I really liked this one, and I don't know if it was the supernatural side of it or what it was, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I don't want to get in it too early, but this is on the poor end of sci-fi. Like, if you like a good sci-fi, this is not I struggle to see this as a good sci-fi. It's I wouldn't classify it as a sci-fi. Is what I'm trying to say.
It was a war film, wasn't it?
A war movie. I mean, I think I saw somewhere it was described as a supernatural Black Hawk Down.
Yep.
That's what they kept marketing it as, like when they were filming it. But it is
which would have me all in straight away. I'm like, supernatural Black Hawk Down. I am in.
It's definitely a sci-fi though. Like it can't not be a sci-fi.
Yeah, it is, but
it's a whole bunch of different genres in one.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get into that a little bit more. Let's talk about what we found out about this film.
Did you Google Spectral? Sorry, dictionary. Did you stand up?
I didn't go over my dictionary.
No.
Tell us what you found. What did you find?
So I didn't think about it until the first time they said the word spectral, and I was like, oh yeah, what the hell does it even mean? Like I literally didn't know, and the meaning is of or like a ghost. So a spectral is something that's like a ghost.
Good.
And I kind of wish I had done that at the start because I didn't think that I didn't actually know what spectral meant, and it would have been pretty clear if you had.
So I reckon the most obvious thing to talk about with this is that Universal Pictures originally funded this, put it together.
They did everything.
Yeah, we're going to put it in the cinemas, and then they decided to offload it. And obviously Netflix have picked it up. I didn't know this before I watched the film, so when I saw at the start the Legendary logo came across, I was like, "Ooh, Legendary Pictures, pretty well-known production company. This could be good." So, obviously Universal didn't see it fit into their release schedule, I guess.
Yeah, I think Netflix put it out about a year later as well. I think they held on to it for a while. Had a big budget, obviously.
I don't think they held on to it. I think Universal held on to it for a long time.
Yeah.
And then,
because I think I saw the filming was finished in August 2015.
So it was going to release
in December 2016.
It was going to release in 2016 for Universal in cinemas, and then they just bailed on it.
Had a $70 million budget.
It's the most. I reckon
Which I think is the biggest Netflix.
Obviously,
films.
we don't know necessarily Netflix budgets, but I think we'd be hard pressed to have found a budget in the first 20 films that fit in this one. I've done my little budget comparison again, just so we
good.
have
I love that. I like these.
context.
These are good.
It's an easy win, but it's on the same scale as Triple X, Ocean's 8, Inglourious Bastards, Die Hard 2, SWAT, Sleepy Hollow, Olympus Has Fallen, just to name a few. That
Some good movies.
Big action sort of list.
Yeah, and you know what
I like that list.
I noticed from the very first scene. The first thing I thought was, this film has a budget. Like you could tell straight away.
Yeah.
And I was trying to see if Michael Bay's name was going to end up anywhere in there, but
It feels like a Michael Bay kind of movie, doesn't it?
and I don't know if it's just because the films that we've watched, aren't as pretty and a lot of special effects, but this one really stood out for me. I'm like, okay, this film's had some money, which is nice.
I thought, so Netflix in Feb 2017, they released this prequel comic for called Spectral Ghosts of War, and they made it available digitally. I was keen to have a look, but I wasn't going to pay for it. That was my issue.
I was thinking the exact same thing, and I was hoping you were going to say you did. Because I can see this prequel story being pretty interesting. Because they never really talk about how it all started. You just know that the army has built these weapons, so to speak. And I looked at the front cover of the comic, and it had the kids, the two kids that they found in the film were part of it, so you get to see their story. I think it's a cool idea. I wonder how successful it was.
And like you were talking before, Heater, so this was obviously filmed in 2014. So that James Badgedale and Max Martini both appeared in 13 Hours together, and that was released before it, even though this was filmed before. Yeah. It was interesting. Peter Jackson's workshop in New Zealand, Weta Workshop, they did all the futuristic weapons and the visual effects for the film. So,
which was pretty cool.
They were good. They were cool.
The weapons
at
the end were so badass.
Yeah.
They're walking when they first come out, and that last scene, they come out on the that big walkway that they go down. Those guns are the size of a child.
They were awesome.
So in the film, there's that mention, and this whole weapon that they're creating, the Bose-Einstein condensate thing. And I was like, I'm a little bit intrigued by this sort of thing. So I had a little bit of a look at it, and sometimes it's called the fifth state of matter. So that you got your solids, your liquids, your gas, and your plasmas. And then Einstein and this guy Bose in the 20s were putting together this idea about this, this fifth matter, which I thought was pretty cool. So they actually included something that's a little bit realistic.
Okay.
And the techniques to find the suitable material. So obviously it's a man-made matter, and it happened in 1995. And the guy who actually did this got a Nobel Prize in Physics in 2001 for putting together this idea that Einstein came up with in the 20s.
So there effectively is a fifth matter now, man-made
man-made matter, yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
That is super fascinating. I wish I'd have looked into that.
I asked a colleague at work who's a science teacher, had no idea what I was talking about, but
really?
I was like,
I must admit, when they were talking about it, I always assumed it was a real thing, because you don't just throw around Einstein because you can.
Yeah. So that was cool.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. Anything else?
What do you guys think about the critical consensus of this film?
So Rotten Tomatoes had it 75%, but again, only on 8 reviews.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and the Rotten Tomatoes had over 4,000 or nearly 4,000 user reviews at about 52%.
That's about right with Letterboxd. It was on 2.7 on Letterboxd.
And IMDb 6.3 with 42,000 ratings.
Slightly a bit higher than Letterboxd then, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously a few more people watched it than some of the films we've talked about recently.
Yeah, it's pretty popular film based on those ratings.
I certainly don't remember hearing about it though back in 2016. I think obviously in Australia recently when Annihilation came out, there was heaps of chat about that because it was theatrically released overseas, but I know some of these can feel like an easy win if you're just a film goer that enjoys watching at home and going, these guys have put this massive film together and I get to watch it just as part of my subscription.
Yeah. So filmed in Budapest in Hungary and Slovakia.
Yeah.
There was a scene in the film where they're in this square where they're having that big fight off with all the all the tanks come in and they're trying to get away. That reminded me of Goldeneye like so much. Like James Bond Goldeneye is like a similar scene, and I was like, Pierce Brosnan comes through with this tank and clean. I was like, I don't know, I just thought that was cool. I looked it up, but it wasn't the same place.
The same place.
But I liked it.
When they left that building, because they effectively had to leave because all the Spectrals were coming down and they ran out. That reminded me of Hunger Games, like the final Hunger Games, when they're just on the run in this desolate, abandoned city.
Yeah. Anything else? No. So let's have a look at the characters, I guess. What did we like? Who didn't we like? MJ, have you got some thoughts?
I certainly liked the name of Major Sessions combined with his voice. Like, it felt like he was like a video game character.
He plays a great soldier in a lot of movies, that guy. Max Martini is just a good soldier actor.
His voice was it was like he was taking the piss with his voice sometimes. But I liked it. As soon as he said Major Sessions, I seriously chuckled. I was like, Major Sessions.
I liked Clem Crawford, who played Sergeant Toll.
Max Gorn.
Yeah.
I honestly, the whole time, I just called him Max Gorn.
Yeah.
He looks like the big Melbourne Ruckman.
He does look like Max Gorn, yeah.
Yeah.
I like him. I actually think he's a pretty decent actor. He's in the Lethal Weapon TV show.
Okay.
Plays Martin Riggs. I think in the first season or two. He's been fired since. I think he's a bit of a jerk just in real life. But I really I thought he was a pretty decent actor in that, and seeing him again here in this, probably the first time I've seen him since that. And again, I thought he was a pretty good actor.
Yeah, he was good.
And I liked his character. To be honest, I liked a lot of the characters. I mean, I didn't really love any of them. They weren't nothing amazing, but just good, solid characters. I thought I liked most of them.
I wasn't a massive fan of the Fran female character from the CIA, and when we get to scenes later on that sort of stood out, I thought like she was just put in as this token sort of
female.
She didn't seem to have a lot of lines.
She just had these coincidental sort of things, and I thought her storyline was a little bit weak. I'm going to refer to him as the Avatar dude, Bruce Greenwood. I thought his role was cringeworthy. Did my head in, but we'll talk about that when we talk about some scenes later on.
We should talk about Klein, obviously being the main character.
He was good.
I liked him. The character was like I liked him too, but I think I liked him because I just got sucked into like the Hollywood side of things.
Yeah,
but he was this like badass, fearless, like brooding lone wolf kind of guy. But he was like this really smart engineer.
Just like an engineer, yeah.
But they just like threw him into this war situation. He was just like, yeah, whatever.
He seemed so comfortable.
He was so chill.
Like they're going out.
They made mention about he'd never touched a gun or something. Almost.
Yeah.
And
there was a scene where they give him a gun. He goes point and shoot. Yeah, point and shoot. Like, but he was just
which was a funny scene.
Yeah.
It was just, I guess, compared to other war movies when you got people who aren't soldiers going out and they're fearful of their lives and stuff. This guy was just like, yeah, sure.
Even when all the other soldiers are like, we are getting like destroyed by this, whatever it is, he was still really cool and casual about it, and he's out there filming it. He's right there.
He's just got his big camera instead of a gun, and
I think if I wanted to nitpick, I'd be like, come on, this guy doesn't exist in real life.
Yeah.
But with that said, I thought he honestly felt like a Hollywood star in this film. He felt like the guy that you come to the movies to go and see.
Yeah.
And I would definitely keep him, in my back pocket to see how he goes in other films. So I'd love to see him do something bigger. I thought he was really good.
Director, again, this is that Netflix feel that we speak about every single week.
But it's not Netflix giving them that role.
Yeah,
this is true. So it's a separate situation.
But Netflix still, willing to take on a film that's directed by a first-time director.
Yeah, on his debut.
Yeah, so that was cool. Any other actors, people that we could consider? The film reminded me very much of Elysium with Matt Damon, that sort of technological sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it begs the question: when was this based? Do you think this was like based in the future? And if it's so, it wouldn't have been far.
I reckon it's based pretty present.
So did I.
It seemed really present day.
There's a reference I made at the very start about the 90s,
yeah.
and he said something like, "Oh, this is what you had to do back in the 90s," which makes me feel like it could be today.
Yeah. They made some comment about Rwanda as well at the start in that lab, and I was like, I've done a fair bit on Rwanda, and so it was like, the 90s again. Yeah. So yeah.
At the start, all just the soldiers just their normal guns and weapons seemed pretty modern.
Yeah. But it didn't. There was no talk about this, and even like the war zone and the people in there were pretty standard civilians
Yeah.
and whatnot. So
It didn't seem like a futuristic
no, it didn't. Which,
film.
going into the film, I just assumed it would have been. And even that very first scene where he's walking in the dark through the rubble, you're like, oh, when's this based? This is obviously this new warfare, but no, which is kind of cool as well. I like that.
All right. We'll talk about some scenes.
Let's do it.
Yeah, standout scenes. What did we like about this film?
Where do you start, Jesse?
Just the battle scenes.
Battle scenes.
Again, for me, I mean, I'm sure it's no surprise. So I think the first one where they first go into the house when they're looking for the guys, and you got the guys hiding under the bathtub, and then the spectrals, they come out, and that fight scene, really like that.
It was amazing, and they're just
really
picking them
good.
off one by one.
Yeah, just flying through them all, and it was great. And even when they come out, and they kind of out at the entrance of the building as well, and it's still going.
Mayhem.
Great scene. Great scene.
The opening scene, I was in from the start. And I like the way. Firstly, I'm like, this is like a video game. This is similar I've made decisions there, but I really like the way that they had that opening scene and he gets killed, and they have this massive musical interlude that goes into the title.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to be in the cinema so badly right now.
I like a good film that has like a title scene.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That was cool. The scene that you talked about before when the tanks come in.
Yeah.
So when they're fleeing, they're fighting, the tanks come in, the spectrals are trying to get to the tanks, the chopper comes in, and you got the Klein who's got his belt of his dirty bombs, and he smashes it, so the chopper blows all the lead into it.
That was the best shot of the whole film.
Oh god, that was good. Yeah. That was a really good shot of him smashing it going. That was really good.
I wanted to stand up and clap.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
It looked so cool.
Yeah.
I liked the that Aratari, the local myth story. I thought that was cool, like the ghosts of war. I liked that really well. I liked how they mentioned that at the start with the kids, and then there was like that really good connection at the end where they see all those fused bodies, and it's like, the bodies, they're not alive or dead, they're trapped, and it was like this good connection that they'd made throughout the whole film. So I thought those two scenes were good where they spoke about that.
There's that scene also to that where when Klein first comes in and sees the footage, they're like, what do you think it is? I loved it how it was like, you're trained to see the enemy, so you see the enemy, they're trained to see this, they're trained to see this. I really like that because it broke it down really well.
That was really good.
And then he's like, the locals, they know the myth, so they think they're seeing the myth. And the whole time I'm just like, but it has to be the myth. Like, it can't be anything else. These are like legit ghosts.
That was really cool, yeah.
I thought a lot of the drone shots or whatever they were of the city, like they were really nice shots of the city, because obviously like a lot of those shots were real locations. So I thought it's a cool little view of these little cities in Europe. I liked the point of view through the goggles. Whenever they put those goggles on and had that point of view, that was cool shots.
This is where the budget comes into play.
Yeah, that was cool.
And another big scene is that where they're running away the first time and the tanks get knocked over by the landmines. I thought the slow-mo of that and the tanks flipping and the inside of the tanks flipping, that was really cool. And one thing that I really liked was the post-credit scenes where there was this program contains product placements. I had a great laugh.
You love that, didn't you?
That was great.
So
but the thing is, I didn't pick any.
What were they?
I didn't see any.
I did not see any.
Because I must admit, you sent me a photo of that screen, and then I watched it and I saw that screen myself. And as soon as I saw that screen, it got me thinking. I'm like, what were the product placements?
I don't think there were any product placements. So obviously, it must have been pretty subtle.
References to the actual what's that?
Unless it was like
who he works for, the DR.
Unless it was like the weaponry or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That was only a really short and small scene, but I also like the scene where they were making the dirty bombs, and you kind of went through seeing them all doing their different kind of production line thing. I thought that was really cool as well.
There was one of the first scenes when he's still at the sort of home base, and Klein's chatting with Dr. Mandala about after he's just shown them what they can do, and he's like, why are you using it on people? It's a really nice scene, and I think it led itself to a lot of other scenes in this film that set up the background and even like the ethics of the characters, humanized them, made them feel real. Like, I feel like in that 3 or 4 minutes, I learnt so much about Klein as a character.
Yeah.
And sometimes films can labour on that a little bit too much, and you sit there and go, I don't need to hear this, but I just thought it was done really well. And there were so many things in this film where I reckon they took an extra minute or two to explain things just so you could understand without trying to feed it to you.
Yeah.
But just giving you enough to not be like, what's going on here?
Yeah. What you were saying before about kind of the scenery, just the look of the war-torn city, like the buildings and everything, just looked really cool. Looked really well done. It looked
real, didn't it?
Yeah, you can like just a city demolished by a war. I thought that was really shot well.
I'm out of good stuff.
I'm happy.
Yeah, they're my main ones.
I'm happy. So I reckon almost. I don't know if this is like a scene per se, or it's just like a really great bit or a really great character arc. But right at the end, when what was Emily Mortimer's character's name?
Fran.
When she says to Klein when he's pulling out the cords on all the bodies or all the brains or whatever you want to call them, and she's like, "Oh, this is why you came here," and he's just, and you hark back to what you know about him, and he wants to like make a difference in war as to like not kill innocent lives, and he doesn't really care about the research side of it. He just wants to do what he can to save it. So her saying this is why you came here had a complete different meaning to why he actually came there, and he finally got himself into a position where he could make that difference. And she talks about, don't forget about the bigger picture, but the bigger picture to him was trying to stop all this, savage.
So I read that the bigger picture to him was like they had that. It was like them looking into each other's eyes, and I was like, oh, they're trying to tie in this love scene at the end, and I was like, that was really bad.
Nah, because his original conversation with Dr. Mandala was about, why do we need to be killing people with all this sort of technology?
I was sitting there going, oh, this is cringeworthy. Like, the music changed as well, and I was like, oh, don't try and turn this into some love connection they're trying to tie up.
I was worried they were going to like have a kiss at the end or something. So that's what he was even better when he finishes. And then that guy goes, oh, I told you wouldn't have to unpack before you went back to Virginia. I liked that he just walked straight back on the plane. He didn't, there was nothing romantic between them.
True.
That was really good. And the only other thing I wanted to mention was the nice little, I'm calling it a bit of a throwback to Ghostbusters when they're all zipping up there. They all of a sudden got these new uniforms. Yeah. Like, they're literally Ghostbusters. They're out there trying to kill ghosts.
That was cool.
I definitely thought that was a little nod, and I liked it. It was well done.
All right. Can I get going on some things that annoyed me?
Go for it.
All right. So you spoke about the lab scene before, and I thought that was good character development for Klein, but I felt the rest of the men in that room were really frustrating, and that they were just representing this, the government, that we want this, and there was the one bit of CGI that really did my head in when they had that cube, and they were like, it reminded me of like watching an episode of CSI. It was like you got this cube, and they're just like boom, and it's like, oh wow, look at this. It was like
ice cube thing.
Yeah, the ice cube thing. So yeah, that annoyed me. And then like literally, so we spoke before how we really liked the pre-title scene, but then when they take Klein to this secret sort of headquarters, it's literally like they retell that whole story of what we'd already seen to him.
That's true.
So it was like you could have, get him up to speed without informing us as the audience. So that annoyed me a little bit. And then what did you guys think of that scene where where Klein comes out and all those macho soldiers come and sort of have a go at him?
I like that. It felt real.
It felt pretty typical action movie.
Yeah.
You're the nerd, and we're the.
He's got the one guy, Cabrera, stands up for him, and the rest are like.
See, I think it was more because he's taken like a weapon off their car to put on a camera, and I think I think he tells them afterwards, this
create all these weapons pretty much.
Oh no, sorry. He tells Klein like why they're upset. Like this truck or car, whatever, is like their home. They're really protective of it. It saved their lives so many times. I thought it was kind of warranted that they'd be quite angry that he's removing a weapon from something that saved their lives.
It was a bit cheesy though. Like
it was, yeah.
But I didn't have an issue with it.
Like I said before,
I assume that you didn't like that scene.
I didn't like it. I was like, no real need for it. Yeah. I didn't like I said before, the scenes with Fran. So there was a scene where Klein's sitting outside and they're having a drink and they're just like staring at her, going, she's a hard ass. It's like, okay, like that doesn't really help her. And then it's like, when she gets cut across the face and Klein goes over and wipes her face to see how she's going, and and she's miraculously the one who can speak the language out of all of them.
In her role, I'm not surprised that she had that kind of.
Yeah, I understand that that's the sort of character that you put in there, but like you needed more. I don't know. She needed more to do in that film.
I agree. She was. So I didn't think anything of her until all of a sudden she was on the mission, and I think that's why they popped in that scene of them watching her sitting on the phone, and they're like, oh yeah, she's coming with you. I was like, oh really? Like, what is she? Who is she? Like, I agree that they didn't really flesh her out very much.
We spoke before about that first scene where they go in that building, and you guys like the action in that scene. The action, like all those, like that scene, all the soldiers in there, I had no care factor for them. Everyone who we'd been built to so far in the film to care about was sitting in the tank. So to me, there was no.
They were all expendable.
Yeah, they were all expendable. So to me, there wasn't any real loss of those people that were dying in there because the people in the tank were the ones that we want to survive.
I agree. I don't think I was worried about the guys dying, but I think it was recognizing how inherent this danger actually is to the people I do care about.
So why not put one of the characters in there to like go in there and then you actually have fear for them?
Yeah, and I think maybe that might have been to do with that. Well, to that little scene where you are introduced to the soldiers. That's the only time you really meet them. But even, it would have been nice to put the captain in there because you knew that he was mates with Klein and you kind of cared a little bit when he died at the end, but it would have been nice to have him in there maybe. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And then after that scene, there's this Sergeant Chen guy that just rocks up out of nowhere. It's like, where'd you come from, mate?
Where did he come from, actually?
That's a question I have.
That's right.
So he rocks up. So my thoughts are that he was in that building that they went into and he somehow got out of there. So the guy stayed in the tub and he ran and was hiding in this building that they found.
Yeah, because I must admit, I'm like,
he kind of came from nowhere and didn't really explain it, I don't think.
He just came out of nowhere.
I mean, obviously part of another team, but not sure what team,
Utah,
where
but he made comments about, is that guy still alive, sort of thing. So he obviously knew the guys that were in that building.
And then he was referring to...
So I'm not sure if he was in Team Utah then?
I think he was.
Yeah. I think he was?
Because I think he said, I'm from Team Utah.
Yeah.
He was on the comms guy.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, he was, so, I think he said... So the other guys were in a building. He was in a truck somewhere.
Yeah.
Because he was comms. So when they all got killed, he was in the truck. So that's why he's still alive. And must have just maybe been hiding in his truck still until he saw...
But then he was just in the building with them. I didn't see him like run from anywhere.
Yeah.
He was just like, "Hey guys,
Oh, hi.
Save me."
That was a bit weird.
that was a little bit weird."
And then they're going through all the equipment and like, I've got so many broken goggles and we've lost our goggles. And then Klein's just like, well, maybe the camera can help us. It's like, oh, gross. It's like he loves that camera so much. And then conveniently
It's a good camera.
Conveniently that building has a transmission tower so they can call out. It's like. Remind me very much of a video game, and I'll probably talk about that a bit later on.
It reminded me a lot of a video game.
Yeah.
It was like Ark, wasn't it, when they were trying to call the the airstrike thing or whatever it is.
Yeah. So then there's that scene we talked about before where the tanks all come rolling in. They've all got these big lights so they can see the ghost. So he worked his ass off the night before to build one of these little things, and he's given them the communications on how to do it. And then all of a sudden, there's a whole. They must have worked really hard.
There's a lot more resources.
There's a whole team though.
They had a lot more resources back at the base.
It did annoy me though when they kind of figured out that they could use the iron shavings to pull back the spectrals, and then the tanks just come in and just like.
It's like you've already told them. And then they'll start to die. It's like, I could have saved all these lives. And then when they get evacuated on that helicopter, there's this shot where they're in the helicopter and they're looking down. There's all these ghosts. I'm like, how can you see them? You don't have a light on them.
Yeah.
Because they're like, they're taking over everywhere. They're in all the streets. Okay, well, you just told us the whole plot of this film is you've got to have these lights to see them. So that really annoyed me too.
That was quite a mistake there they made, didn't they?
What did you think about the ceramic tile? This underlying thing with the kids that was sort of like the relationship. To me, it didn't pay off because, they told us that the ghosts couldn't get through it. And we saw that through the bathtub at the start. And it meant something to the kids because that's the factory where their dad worked. Mm-hmm. So this factory where they were doing this experiment or whatever, what did they need ceramics for?
Protect themselves, I guess.
Yeah.
Obviously, it got overthrown, so...
Yeah, I don't know, I just thought, I liked that idea, but it didn't really pay off because I was like, what's the point in the ceramics? Like, they built it up well, but it was no...
I liked it when they killed off the little boy, to be honest. That was when they were letting you know that they're not stuffing around.
That was good, actually.
It did annoy me a little bit, though, when the sister was trying to save the brother. And
it's like you could easily grab her.
So grab her. Just run it away.
Just stop her.
Like, I can't quite reach her.
Yeah.
And then, so they build that mechanical Rottweiler.
That was sick.
That was awesome.
But what did it do?
It just like walked around shooting.
It's just it's just another soldier that can't get killed.
Yeah. They could have shown it, doing an awesome job against the ghost in that battle, and it was just like
I did. No, it was walking around firing.
Just appreciate how cool it was, man.
It was super cool.
It was a robot Rottweiler soldier.
That's when they're like, hey, we've got a $70 million budget. We've only spent 60. What else should we do?
What other extraordinary thing can we do that is so crazy that it'll work?
I'll be honest, by that point, I was so in on this film. When I saw it, I was like, yes, it's exactly what I want to see right now.
I feel like they could have cut... There was about 5 minutes in this whole film just watching Klein putting stuff together. In multiple scenes, putting together. That
the guy was obviously a dead set genius.
Yeah.
I found that interesting, that stuff.
Well, that was one of your scenes you liked, wasn't it?
I like the dirty bombs going together. It was more like the team.
Yeah. near the end, the Bruce Greenwood guy from Avatar does like this pep talk, and he goes, "This is the place to change the future."
Bad pep talk.
Yeah, and now is the time. Let's do what we came here to do. And I'm like, hang on. There's only two of them that came here to beat the ghosts. The rest of them were there to beat the insurgents. So that really did my head in.
Is he from Avatar? Is he?
I might be completely wrong.
He's from Double Jeopardy. I'm not sure if can't remember if he's in Avatar, but he's in Double Jeopardy.
I got the completely wrong guy.
I know who you're thinking from Avatar, like the same sort of role.
Yeah, okay, I'm completely wrong. So I don't know. In my notes, I've written guy from Avatar.
He's in Good Kill in like a really similar role as well.
I probably should have looked up who he was.
Ashley Judd's husband in Double Jeopardy.
Place Beyond the Pines, Flight.
He's in Place Beyond the Pines, isn't he?
My bad. So anyway, and then at the end when they all go up to the...
That should have been IMDb.
Should have been my IMDb.
He's in Star Trek, Jesse.
He's in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
There's a lot of things that aren't Avatar.
Yeah, my bad. Anyway, and then at the end when they all go off to fight, he's the one that stays behind with the girl. He's meant to be the leader. Surely the leader goes and fights in front of your men.
He seems more of like the bureaucratic type, though.
But why is he giving them that pump-up speech? Like, let's go get him. I'll stay behind while you guys go.
He wasn't, because he wasn't in any missions or anything.
Yeah, he seems more like the guy on the ground, not the soldier.
Yeah.
This takes us back to Beast of No Nation, where we were like, why doesn't Idris Elba go fight?
Yeah.
Which I'm completely fine with. Like, somewhat, they're not all like the infantrymen. Some people are, the higher-ups, bureaucratic types, which I think is fine, yeah.
And last thing, the last couple of minutes, Klein and then Fran go into that thing, and he's like, oh, it's a weapon. It's like, yeah, I think I've worked that out. Thank you. That's me done.
I thought that was really cool when we figured out that, because I the whole time just assumed like it's spirits, and this is going to be a cop out. That's fine, but it's spirits. It's spirits of all the people that have died in war, and when it wasn't, I was like, ooh, okay, I need a bit more convincing. But I really enjoyed the fact when it was they're basing it on their carbonating molecular system of the human body, whatever. I was like, okay, that's cool, but I want it to be like actual individuals, because these spectrals are. It's all well and good to base them physically on the human form, but they're performing like humans, like they're moving and they've got they're thinking. So when they had that scene with them linked up to the brains and linked up to certain individuals. I really liked that, because I was like, I kind of want that to be the ending, but I don't think they'll go there. Yeah. And when they did go there, I was like, excellent. That really adds up in my head. I know there's so many like crazy far-fetched ideas in this, but they explain it enough for me to be like, okay. Like when they say like iron shavings can slow them down, I'd be like, I'm sure that doesn't happen, but I have no reason not to believe that.
I'll just believe you.
So at least you've tried to explain it to me. Yeah. So
I agree with you. Like they did kind of explain that well, and it worked out well. I didn't like when you found out they were man-made. I was really into the ghosts and the spirits, and that's how I wanted it to be. And when you find out it's actually man-made,
I give him more credit.
It disappointed me a bit. Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
It's a better thought out idea rather than like, hey, it's ghosts. Why are they there?
I was all in on just a soldiers versus ghosts movie. Like, I love that. That sounds fantastic to me.
So I was going to talk about this later, but so we understand that it's like they were building them as soldiers, and they've sort of gone rogue.
Mm-hmm.
So they go rogue. What's their direction? Why are they killing people? Like, is that killing them? Like, to me, that was the biggest thing in this film that didn't go well with me, because you've got these ghosts that are going rogue. Why are they then attacking everyone? Do they think that by attacking them, that'll set their bodies free?
So one of the reasons as to why they were killing?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like, if you go rogue, like, do they think that that's going to release their bodies by killing all these people? Like, that sort of did my head in a bit.
Either way, they were kidnapped, effectively, though, because they're all locked behind a wall, and they're probably...
Yeah, but to me, that doesn't explain why they're killing kids. That doesn't explain why they... Like, I understand if you're fighting military people, but they kill a kid. Like, to kill a kid, that's a real big thing. Like, there's got to be some... You've got this main villain, and you don't actually know the reason why they've gone rogue throughout the whole film.
That's a really good point. I didn't think of that.
That's fair.
Because, my big thing that I liked about it was the fact that they're using this human brain. So the idea that they're thinking like humans should suggest that
they'd be thinking, okay, so we're ghosts, we want to release our bodies or release our whatever's left of us.
It's a really good point.
They still just see them as the enemy from the human brain. They're like, these guys are still the enemy, so we still have to destroy them.
Or had some of the manipulation they'd been doing in the bodies just overridden their humanity. And
possibly.
Being like, we're just weapons. We're
designed to kill.
So
that's what we do.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, but that...
It would have been nice to have a little half of that. I agree. Yeah, that would have been...
Yeah. So anything else that frustrated you guys? Or do you want to have it... What are some of the themes that we see in it? I think it tried to say a lot of things.
Yeah.
like the horrors of war, so the bad things of war and you know death and
It definitely shows you what is
fatalities.
death.
Yeah.
Especially, I guess, with the little kid as well. Like a lot of like showing that no one's safe kind of thing. Like anyone can die in war.
Yep. What did you think about like the science thing? Like, were they saying that science can be used for the betterment of humanity, or that science is dangerous?
I think they were trying to say that, I guess, kind of a lot of movies say in the right hands it can be used really well, but so often it falls into the wrong hands who can easily use it for destruction and mayhem.
Yeah, you've got Klein as one side of the story where he's literally everything he does is to do the right thing.
Yeah. He designed the weapons as a deterrent.
Yeah.
He wanted the goggles to keep people safe. He didn't want to flash freeze the water supplies and all that sort of stuff. So he wanted to do it for the betterment of humankind. But then you see the other side of things where they were building this
Kill
army.
at all costs.
Building this army to kill at all costs through. And which one in the end won? Like, did Klein win or
Yeah, he did.
he did?
He stopped them.
The army's no more.
Yeah.
But
then what's
at a
go-
cost.
Of course. And then, so what's going to happen to all the insurgents now? They're just going to get wiped out, and then we just see, like, I don't know.
That's a separate.
Have
It's
to wait for the
separate-
sequel.
that probably goes away from the science side of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I want to read the prequel.
Yeah. That might answer some of the questions that we've got as well.
It probably might. It probably would actually, wouldn't it?
But a good film shouldn't have to. You shouldn't.
No,
have to
I
do
agree.
that.
I agree.
You shouldn't have to do that.
But it's nice to expand the universe.
There's a little bit about government intervention as well. So, like, why was America there in the first place?
Why is
Why
it?
are they-
Why are they in most
Why
wars?
then any war?
Yeah, but like, I'd like an explanation saying, oh, you know, we're on the side of this country.
They might have been called in for help from someone.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't really explain their purpose
their
of being
motives.
there.
No, so yeah, that was annoying.
Or even like what war it was, even like who they were,
Who they
who they were originally fighting.
the insurgents of whoever were taking over that country.
Yeah.
And then like there was a line in there. It was like I think Klein said it. He said everyone is biased in one way or another. And I thought that was really good in this film as well because they might have all been working as a team, but they all had individual motives that they were all working towards. Like Klein wanted to do the right thing. Fran wanted to keep her job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're all doing separate things.
Yeah, which hark back to why everyone thought that the Spectral
Yeah,
was
they saw
something that it wasn't. Or,
Yeah.
That's good.
Cool. Anything else? No. So, what do we take out of the film? What was good? What was bad?
I mean, for me, I was all in on the first hour. I was hooked. This was awesome. And I said, I didn't enjoy it as much once you found out it wasn't actually ghosts. It was more man-made.
That was pretty late,
But
in the piece that you found that out.
I think it's about an hour and 5 minutes in.
Was it?
Where Klein says, where they're in that thing, and Klein's like,
makes
they're
sense.
man-made, yeah.
Because
It
there
was,
was a whole fight at the end.
yeah. But first hour, I was hooked. I was in.
I thought like the production values were really good, and I like big budget, but I do like sci-fi to have a little bit of meat to it, and I wanted some payoff with the ghost. So that's what sort of let me down a little bit. Is that I wanted to know why they were attacking people, like why.
So yeah, that aside, because I do agree with you, that would have been nice to have a little bit of explanation there. But I felt I massively got my payoff with the enemy because I was not expecting it to be what it was, and then I was hoping it would be that, and then it was that, and I was like, okay, I'm satisfied by this. And I think in general, I just thought that the whole mission explanation was really clear the whole time, and maybe it was a little bit too slow explaining it, but I think the last thing you want to do is get lost 20 minutes into a sci-fi film and be like, I've just got no idea what's happening here. So I do appreciate that they did that, and I think it helped me really believe some of those far-fetched ideas like those iron shavings, and they articulated it to the audience pretty well. The whole thing was reasonably well thought out, and they'd given it the time of day to think, okay, we're going to make this film, well, let's do it properly, and I appreciated that.
Would have been cool in the cinema.
Yeah,
Super cool.
Would have been cool in the cinema.
the surround sound on that would have been
Yeah,
really cool.
would have made great viewing.
Yeah,
A lot of the battle scenes and the fighting and stuff, it would have been really good on the big screen.
I feel like the start of the film made it out that you have to think really heavily. There was a lot of heavy dialogue at the start.
I put on subtitles in the first
like,
10
shit,
minutes.
I got to really concentrate, work out time. But then I was like, you don't really need to
you
concentrate
didn't.
at all.
Subtitles were still handy at the start, though.
Yeah. IMDb. When do we jump on?
Pretty early. Dr. Mendala I was talking about.
have the same one as me.
He's in... Stephen Root is the actor's
Yeah.
name. He's in so many things, but Most recently, obviously, Get Out.
Yeah.
But quite famously, Gordo from Dodgeball.
So yeah, he's a dodgeball guy, wasn't he? Yeah.
Lynn Boyle, Charles's dad in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And he's also in True Blood, Eddie the Vampire.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's in tons of things because I think every role he's in is kind of minor. So he's got time on his hands to do a bunch of films.
Yeah, I was the same.
He's good.
Is that yours?
Yeah, Get Out. The guy who gets Chris's eyes, or was going to get Chris's eyes.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Get Out.
If you haven't seen Get Out yet, you shouldn't be listening. And then the second, the second one was that Sergeant Chen, that dude that just rocked up. I was going to check out what he's been in. Nothing. It was just a lot of TV. True Blood, Hawaii Five-0.
True Blood
just
is-
random little characters.
I love True Blood.
Yeah.
Mine was Captain Cabrera.
Oh yeah.
Because I was
Okay.
pretty certain I knew. I thought he was from Colony, which is a show I've recently binged, and he was. He's got a semi-lead role in Colony.
Yeah. Cool.
So I just wanted to double check it was him.
I don't know that show.
It's decent.
All right. Got any questions we want to ask?
I don't know why. Would you guys have cased your armor in iron shavings?
Yes.
That felt like the most obvious thing to do. When
Yeah.
they figured out like it deters them a little bit, I'm
Yeah.
like, pour it on.
Yeah,
Because
on
when
you.
he found all the shavings, I was like, they're going to put themselves in it, and they just made bombs out of it. And I was like, okay, that's
Just roll around in it and cover
like
yourself in it.
on The Walking Dead when they put all like the dead
Yeah.
body parts on them to get through all the zombies.
Yeah, I would have thought they'd do a bit more to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Now they know because they had so much of
They
it.
seemed to, didn't they?
So much of it. Hey, let's protect ourselves. With
Missed
it.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Klein should have thought of that.
Yeah.
And you should have called ahead to tell the other guys, don't use normal.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, by the way, they don't react to bombs at
He
all.
told them all about
Use the light, but
camera with the light.
that's for your normal weapons that work.
I knew I forgot to tell him something.
It would have been good if you had seen him be like, oh, damn it.
I read this and I really liked it. I can't remember, it was a quote. They go, Spectral revolves around a series of travel and battle quests. Get this technology to this location, find the missing soldier, get this piece of information, use it, activate the next step. It's like a video game. It's literally like a video game. So I like that.
And quite a few times as well, you kind of got like that first person shooter view.
Yeah,
as the
goggles
soldiers are
through the
walking
point
around
of view,
through the goggles. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So we spoke a lot about science. I spoke about the ghosts.
The Spectrals.
The Spectrals. There's one thing. So the first attack, the soldier comes out and he goes, it's killed 19 men. I was like, geez, that's real specific. So I wrote it down. I'm like, 19 men were killed in that first attack. And then at the end, Bruce Greenwood, I'm not going to call him the Avatar dude. Bruce Greenwood comes in and he goes at the base and he goes, our base has been compromised. 240 of the men were dead, but 19 survived. I was like, that's got to be done on purpose.
You don't have an army of 30 still, is that what you're saying?
Not what?
11 plus
So you have 19 that are killed
sorry.
and then 19 survive. So what's this? What's 19?
Sorry,
Right?
sorry.
Yeah.
What
I don't know. I was just like, there's got to be something significant about that number 19. Unless it's just...
Director's favourite number?
Yeah, or they've just gone copy and paste on the text and gone, no.
It's got sloppy screenwriting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
I don't know what, like, you have 19 killed and then 19 survive. So is it like the, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I've got nothing, I just thought it was an interesting thing.
Yeah, it's
interesting.
Because no one people would have picked up on that.
No. It's brainy while being brainless. I like that.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I got no more questions.
All right, let's go around the table. We're going to give our rating out of 5, like we do with every week. So, Heater.
This was an enjoyable movie. That's right up my alley kind of movie.
Yep.
Ghost vs Soldiers. I was all in from the start. Thought like the battle scenes and the war scenes are really cool. I liked the cast. As I said, I wasn't a big fan of when kind of the story turned into kind of with our man-made kind of things. But overall, I mean, it was a pretty decent watch. I enjoyed it. I give it 3 out of 5.
Good. MJ?
It was a little bit predictable in terms of the overall story arc, but it answered the questions I wanted answered in the way that I wanted them answered. It didn't really miss any important parts that would have left me feeling a bit cheated. And I thought it was well enough thought out and constructed. Good performances from the cast, particularly from James Badge Dale, and pretty high quality production. Really engaging ride. 3.5 stars.
Ooh, good. All right. So I do like a good sci-fi. But this isn't a good sci-fi. It's a good action film. It's a good war film. It's not a good sci-fi. So the production values, like I said, they're high and it's very watchable. But it was missing that oomph, that underlying sort of message. So it was like watching a good video game. Someone like sitting there on the couch watching someone else play.
I could never watch someone play a video game. Although lots of people do that, don't they? There's like channels.
It's weird.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. So this week I'm not going to forget this because last episode I forgot to go around and work out our average of the film. So Heater, out of 5, what's our average together?
That gave us an even 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. Oh, good. I feel like
We haven't had a 3 yet.
no, that's pretty even. That's good. So 3 out of 5. So if you do like a good action film with a lot of action,
It's a good movie just to sit back and enjoy
fun.
and just get lost in the story and all
once
the
you're
action.
in, you're in. I got in really quickly.
Yeah,
and
I was
even
in from the start, and you're
some
in.
of the things that I'd probably nitpick in other films, I was like, nah, I believe this.
I believe it,
I want this to happen.
All right, so social media, we're going to put a question up this week. As usual, I haven't shared this question with you guys. Was science depicted to be a good thing for humanity?
And we kind of put it to us.
We did put it to us a little bit.
You did.
I did, in different words. Yeah, so overall, is it a good thing for humanity?
I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in the right hands.
In the right hands. In the right hands.
It's got to be in the right hands. There's always going to be people that are going to use it for evil. But in the right hands, it is.
Because in the end, science had nothing to do with them being victorious. It was about being able to pull a plug.
And that was not easy.
No, it wasn't easy. It was very hard. It was a big fall. So get on social media this week. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, @FlixForum. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Subscribe.
I wasn't sure if he was going to fall into like the abyss
Yeah.
when he pulled that out, because there was a whole thing like, he's got to pull this plug out. It's going to be really hard to do. And then he did it. I'm like, oh, he's going to fall. Like, he's going to die. And then obviously fell.
Looking down, I was like, oh, it's just a big bit of water. But then when he actually fell, it was just like a little
Yeah, it was like,
It would have hurt.
Yeah. So next week, we are going to be looking at the 2016 drama Barry. I've seen this one, so when it came out, so a long time. Looking forward to the rewatch. It's based on Barack Obama's.
I didn't know that until I looked at it.
So it's directed by Vikram Gandhi, starring Devon Terrell, Anta Taylor-Joy, Jason Mitchell, Ashley Judd.
Juddy.
Yeah, Jenna Elfman from what's Jenna Elfman? Dharma and Greg.
Oh, right.
Jenna Elfman, Dharma and Greg.
Struth.
Ella Coltrane, Avi Nash, and Linus Roach. So take the time, watch the film before our next episode, so you can join in with our discussion.
Yeah.
Cool.
As
Can't
usual.
wait.
Yeah. Always a good time to catch up. So
it's been
thanks
fun.
for discussing Spectral.
This has been a good one.
Good one, yeah.
And we'll speak to you guys next week.
See you, boys.
See ya.